and got rid of everything as well recently. Was that something that was a freeing experience for you? But did that feel like choosing yourself to you?
No, not really. I mean, it was something that I felt like I wanted to do, but people asked me afterwards if it was freeing, and to be honest, it feels like it should have been, but I was already living a life of not using any of those things. So I figured, okay, if I'm not using or looking at if you only look at something once every 5 years, like let's say, I don't know, sheets for guests, then you don't need it. You can throw it out and you can
Yeah.
buy the sheets when you need them.
That also
So
does. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
just I realized I was living in an Airbnb at that point for almost a year straight. I was living in different Airbnbs, so I didn't really need anything that was in the house I was renting, and my lease was coming up. So I said I don't need to keep doing this lease, and I don't really need anything in this house. So I hired somebody to just go and clean out the house.
Okay, that's a really smart thing because I actually recently sold almost everything. I got it down to a few suitcases. But for me, I'm in
That's
Colombia.
good.
I had to fly back to Chicago, and it took me 6 weeks to to sort through everything. And there were certain things I wanted to digitize, and then there were certain things getting rid of things on Craigslist and selling things on Amazon, and it was really like it was a real pain in the ass. I'm glad to have it done, but that sounds great to just have somebody else take care of it. How did you manage that whole process?
Well, I said to a friend of mine who kind of needed the money that go here, here's the address, go to my house. Uh, you can either throw anything out, keep anything, sell anything, donate anything, do whatever you want, take your family. She took cousins, brothers, sisters, husband, children, and she went and took computers, paintings, beds, sheets, furniture, dishes, food, uh, I don't know, anything that you could imagine being in a house. I lived in that house for five years at that point. So I had 5 years worth of stuff plus let's say 20 years worth of stuff that had been following me around from house to house before that, or 40 years worth of stuff in some cases. And she just got rid of everything. I told her, don't call me at all during the whole process. And she called me once to ask if I wanted to get rid of my diploma. And I said, no one's ever asked me for my diploma in the past 20 years, so just get rid of it. That's the last thing I want around. And she got rid of it.
Yeah, I guess I wimped out on that one. I sent my diploma to my parents, so it's
What are they going to do with it?
I don't know. Maybe like make spit wads out of it or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and
It's
then
there though.
when you die, do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Well, what's going to happen when you die to all your stuff?
Well, then they're gonna have to clean out my house full of stuff. And actually, my parents have gotten more minimalist over the years too, just because my mother had to clean out different relatives' houses after long periods of times, and then eventually, I think, decided like, oh God, I don't want other people to have to do that for us. Um, but they have a decent amount of stuff as well. But that's a good idea having somebody else do it because it was actually at times it was like an emotionally draining experience just sorting through all of the things because the objects that we own have like these stories associated with them and like you were saying there might be this thing that you didn't even know existed and then you open it up and then suddenly you're like, oh God, I don't know, can I really like throw out my paper photos from when I was a kid or when I was in college or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. If you start going through your stuff yourself, you're doomed. That's why I had to go away, and someone had to come in, and I just said, get rid of everything. And she left that place spotless. Like I ran into my ex landlady a few weeks ago, and she said, "Boy, you left that place like it was brand new." So it was great. I would have done that myself. I'm not such an organized, clean person, so it would have. So it was great for me to do this in every way.
So I mean, like, as you were going through that process, you were getting rid of everything. Did you ever at any moment think like, oh gosh, am I crazy? What am I doing?
No, never. Because what was I missing? Like I wasn't missing anything from all those years. Like I had
Yeah.
no use for anything.
Well, that's
What do you
the
really have use for on a daily basis? I have a couple of outfits. I have a computer. I have an iPad and a phone. I live near a bookstore, so if I want to read like a hardcover book, I have no problem.
yeah.
Um, what else do I ever really need?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like logically, it makes total sense, right? But as somebody who has recently been through this experience, I've certainly found it difficult to like to be like, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm like getting rid of all of my stuff, and obviously, like a lot of people around you, whether it's from their own fear or something, might make their own conclusions about what's going on. And so, what is it sort of emotionally that's going on differently in somebody who can just get rid of all their stuff and not have any sort of existential crisis about it, and then the people who think, "Gosh, I could never do that," or if somebody else is doing that, they think that that person's crazy. Or did you get any of that? Anybody?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got a lot of that. And I also got some backlash, like, oh, he's not really being a minimalist. Like, who cares? I wasn't labeling myself one way or the other. It was just something for me. It wasn't really, and I wrote about it, so I guess that makes it for public consumption, but I didn't really, I did it for me, something that was important to me, not really to make an example or live out a particular life philosophy or anything like that.
hmm Okay, so this is something that I want to figure out about you, James. Is like just going through all the things that you've done.